Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Just finished West Ham United 3. Fulham 1. West Ham are moving up the table. Where mid-table is in sight now, but 3 points for West Ham. 3 goals this afternoon. Now let's discuss the highlights, and there's a lot to discuss today as well. But I tell you what a terrible start from West Ham. The first 15 minutes, we were dreadful. Now Fulham scored after about 5 minutes. We'll get on to that in just a second. But that opening 15 minutes from us, we were atrocious. We couldn't string a pass to save our life. Fulham were all over us. They deserved to be 1-0 up after 15 minutes. They were passing us to death. They were better. They were quicker to the ball, quicker to the centre king ball. They had their formation. They had their game plan. They were executing it perfectly. And we were just all over the gap for the first 15 minutes. And we started to settle down. But that goal, Fulham made it 1-0 after about 5 minutes. It was a West Ham attack. And it's not the first time we're saying that this season, where we're the one outside their box, lose the ball, and it's just done. It's just direct on the go and ends up in the back of the net. So Declan Rice loses it. Falls to Vinicius, who finds Cabano. Lovely, drives forward as far as he can until Dawson closes him down. He just sort of slips in. Pereira Zuma's got him at a pretty tight angle, actually. And it's a stunning finish from Andreas Pereira. Let's take nothing away from Fulham. That was a fantastic goal. If that was West Ham, I would have been absolutely buzzing with that. The pace, the speed, the precision of the move, the finish from Pereira as well was absolutely beautiful. Zuma should be tighter, I think, to Pereira. He's probably quite relaxed because it's a really tight angle. He should not be scoring from that angle. And that comes down to Fabianski. Fabianski should be doing a lot better from that. There's no way a player should be scoring from there. Like I said, full marks to Pereira because it is a real lovely strike of the ball. But Fabianski's just grasping at air, really. He's nowhere near it either. And I think he's caught Zuma and Fabianski out. You can see by Zuma's reaction, he turns around and looks at Fabianski and says, how have you been beating from this angle? I've got him where I want him, which is, that tight angle, but yet he's managed to get it past you. Poor goalkeeping. Like I said, Zuma could be doing better, but I think Zuma just trusts his keeper on this occasion, which is if he shoots from there, my keeper's going to save that, or he should be saving that. And I don't make him wrong, to be honest with you. Now, we started to settle into the game after about 15, 20 minutes, we started to get a bit of a foot on it, and we started to move the ball much better, creating a couple of chances, both for Scamacca. And unbelievable save from Leno. We sort of praised Ariola's save on Thursday night, rightly so, from Fabio Silva's header. This one's just as good as far as I'm concerned. Ball in from Paqueta, Tossin flicks it, which helps us out because then it goes over Ream's head to Scamacca. Does quite well. He heads it down hard, heads it down low, but it's an unbelievable save from Leno to get down there. Looking at it back, the more I look at it, the more I think Scamacca's, got the whole goal to aim at, and he's headed straight at Leno. But he's given Leno a chance to save it, and I expect a bit better from Scamacca. But for terrific save by the goalkeeper. Scamacca would have another chance, dragged it just wide of the far post, and another one. And Jared Bowen was there from the follow-up. Another good save. Real good goalkeeping from Leno today for Fulham in the first half. But we did get our goal, and it comes through what will be quite controversial, I think. And this is something, it's not that there's 2 controversial goals in this one. Well, a controversial goal and a controversial decision, which is the penalty. Now, the action that leads to the penalty, the foul by Pereira, I think is soft. If that was given against us, just that, forget the talking to for a moment, please. Forget the context. That isolated instant where Dawson runs in, Pereira and Reed sort of block him a bit. I think it's quite soft. I would have not been happy if I was a West Ham fan that was given against me. However, add in the context, which is referee calls Pereira over and says to him, stop it. Stop blocking Dawson. I can see what you're doing. Cut it out. And he gets warned. And he doesn't cut it out. He continues to do it. 2 or 3 times he's blocking him. Dawson's going in and coming back, going in, coming back. It's like the 4th time he runs in. He blocks him off. And basically, he calls the referee out to some extent, Pereira. Pereira's basically saying, go on then, you've warned me. But what are you actually going to blow up? And turns out he was. Penalty. And as soon as the referee gave Pereira that warning, which is, if you do that, I'm going to give a penalty. As soon as Pereira had done it, the referee had to give a penalty. Pereira gave the referee absolutely no option. Does Dawson buy it? Of course he does. Dawson's literally just witnessed the referee saying to him, "You block him, I'm going to give a pen." What's Dawson going to? Of course, Dawson's going to run into his path and want to get taken down. Why wouldn't he? It's just stupidity from Pereira, and I think the referee's absolutely right to give that penalty. He has to. He's, if not, he's lost all authority on the game. He has to maintain control of the game, and when you warn a player not to do something, and he does it, you've got to punish him. So it's a penalty as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, on its own, a bit soft, but that's removing context. You have to take context into consideration, which is the 2 or 3 warnings he had from the ref, and he ignored it. Jared Bowen stepped up. Perhaps we've got a new penalty taker now. Lanzini's sort of the penalty taker when he's on the pitch, but he's rarely on the pitch. We've seen Antonio take some. We've seen Declan Rice take some not so well, including against Nottingham Forest. Jared Bowen now has taken a couple, scored a couple. So it looks like we've got our new penalty taker at West Ham. Lovely enough finish. It puts Leno the wrong way, puts it into the back of the net. And from us getting that equaliser, I felt we started to grow into the game a little bit and start to play a lot better. Fulham maintained a threat on the counter-attack, but I felt we started to move the ball about a little bit better. And at half-time, I was okay with what I'd seen. Like I said, not okay with what I'd seen in the first 15, 20 minutes, but I was much happier with what I saw. Whilst not being blown away, we weren't excellent. I think a draw at half-time is probably a fair outcome, given what we've seen from both sides in the first 45. I think there were some players playing well, and I think there was 1 or 2 players not playing very well in the first 45, in all honesty. I didn't think Souček was having a great game. I thought Pereira was far too relaxed defensively. I thought he was getting caught out of position, and a bit like last week. Now, this might be confirmation bias, because I felt like I'd seen against Wolves, Pereira wasn't coming back to help out defensively quick enough. He was just jogging back lightheartedly. And I felt like he was doing the same again today. So it could be just me looking for something that I feel I saw last week. And, I feel like the majority in the comment section disagreed with me. But I stand by it. And I think I've seen the same again today, which was Pereira not getting back as quick enough as he should be. And I thought Fulham were taking advantage of that in the first half. But I thought Souček wasn't having a great game. I don't think Vanaz was having a great game either. I thought Rice was quite sloppy in the first half at times. Paqueta was struggling to get into the game. So we needed a much improved performance in the second half. And I think, to some extent, while we got one, I do think Fulham's performance dropped quite drastically. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Fulham were anywhere near as good in the second half as they were in the first half. Is that down to West Ham? Of course it is. We have part to play, but I do think Fulham played into our hands a little bit. I think Marco Silva looked like he lost all composure when the penalty was given. It looked like he'd lost his head then. And then when Scamacca scores the goal, it looks like he loses any composure he had left, was out the window. So I don't think it helps that their manager was sort of losing the plot a little bit. But let's talk about that goal from Scamacca then, just after the hour mark. Paqueta, lovely little ball over to Scamacca. Now, this is just a touch of class. We'll get on to the controversial part in a second. The offside's, he's onside. There's no debate about that. But he brings it down, comes up. It may or may not hit his hand. But the finish is just spectacular. And I will always maintain, nobody will ever change my mind on this. I'll always maintain the hardest thing in football is sort of positioning. And yes, he missed 3 good chances in the first half, but he's getting into those positions. He's getting on the end of all these chances. And the last one is the most difficult one of them all. Leno's doing what he should do, which is coming out fast. The ball's bounced a bit awkward for him. He's coming out. Scamacca just stands there, composed, calm, cool, lifts it over him into the net. Unbelievable finish. Now it goes to VAR because was it a handball? And I'll be honest with you. There's 3 angles. I think there's 3 different angles to the replay of does it touch Scamacca's hand or not. I think in one angle it looks like it doesn't hit his hand. In the other angle, I'm unsure. I can't tell. And in the third angle, it looks like it does hit him on the elbow. You can't see the hand because this angle's from where the dugouts are, so the hand is behind the body, so you can't actually see the hand. But it looks like he hits him on the elbow as it comes down. So there's 3 angles and 3 different results as far as I'm concerned, which makes it inconclusive. I guess the question is it clear and obvious? And I don't think it is. And I have to feel a bit harsh for Fulham fans here, because had the referee went handball, that wouldn't have been overturned. They wouldn't have said, actually, there was no handball, goal stands. I think this is one of these ones where it's inconclusive. It goes with the decision on the pitch. And obviously, the linesman didn't put his flag up for offside. The referee didn't disallow it for the handball. So it was goal stands. And I think it's the correct decision. And I know Fulham fans watching this will probably disagree. But all I will say is that when we've played games in the past so far this season, I've agreed with some disallowed goals for West Ham. And I don't think that one. I think the correct decision here was made, which is the goal standing for West Ham and Scamacca. And a fantastic goal it was, actually. A really good goal. And that's just the quality we've bought. We have bought just pure class with Scamacca. And that goal is just an example of it. And it's a different kind of goal. That's his 6th goal for us now. What's that? 7 starts, 6 goals for Scamacca. Now, obviously, one of the goals was when he came off the bench. It's a bit misleading, but I'm sticking with it. I don't care. 7 starts, 6 goals. But all his goals are different. He scored with his header. He scored a close range sort of front post instinct striker. The goal against Anderlecht, he's in the 18-yarder. Bam, shooting from distance. The goal against Wolves outside the box. The goal today, completely different goal to what we've seen. Almost every goal we've seen from Scamacca in a West Ham shirt is different. We're seeing a variety of ways of him scoring. He is just utter class. I can't believe we've got him so far. Like I said, I didn't know loads about him prior to arrival. So every time he does something like this goal, I think, wow, didn't know he had that in his locker. I can't wait to see Scamacca next week. I love Scamacca. I absolutely love him to bits already. Don't care if I'm man crushing or fanboying. Don't care. Bring it on. Because Scamacca is just unbelievable. Bring on Southampton next week. I cannot wait for Scamacca time. We made it 3-1 just at the death there. Now, I speak about variation of goals. You almost had that in the game a little bit. Unbelievable strike from Pereira, penalty from Jared Bowen, controversy around Scamacca, but quality finish. And then this one was just almost comical to some extent. But listen, this is what we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to seeing Scamacca doing the business, coming off, and Antonio going on against a tired defence. And that's exactly what we got today. When Antonio came on, he was holding in the corner, so on and so forth. Now, on paper or whatever, if you want to look at it emotionless, which is West Ham are time wasting with 5 minutes to go, holding in the corner, 2-1 up against the promoted side of Fulham, I don't really care. We're here for 3 points. We need 3 points. Antonio's been put on to A, make the most of it, and B, run the clock down. That's what he's doing. But anyway, he gets his chance, ball through to him. He beats the Fulham defence. And let's be honest, it's a tired Fulham defence. And I think that's why Antonio takes advantage of this. Shrugs off tossing, runs in on goal. His first shot's poor. It's a all right save by Leno. I think it's an easy enough save for Leno to make. Arguably could be holding it, fumbles it. Ream then sort of kicks it into Leno, which bounces back into Antonio's path. Then he just takes it round them and puts it in. A bit of composure there for Antonio. But the work rate from him, the build-up from Antonio is perfect. Shows strength, brings it down well into the box. Like I said, the first finish wasn't great from him, but then he gets a bit fortunate to have a second bite at it, puts it away, seals the 3 points, 3 goals for West Ham, bish bash bosh, and that's what we needed to do. We needed the win today. Were we perfect? No. Was that champagne football from West Ham? No. At times we were really poor. We won today with a couple of players probably having average marks at best. When we do the player ratings tomorrow with Gonzo, there'll be 1 or 2 players that don't get that higher mark, but we have won. And sometimes when we say going into this game, it's West Ham have the better team on paper, but football isn't always played on paper. However, today is one of those examples where actually I think it's almost been translated into the performance and the result. We have won, and I am simplifying this a little bit, because we have better players. We've won because Scamacca can do that. We've won because Paqueta can play that pass. We have won because we had Antonio to bring on off the bench, who is a good player. We've brought him on against a tired Fulham defence. We've also got the equaliser because of a bit of stupidity from Pereira. So was that a faultless performance? No. But I don't mind. We came into this one, with 2 wins on the bounce, which is good. But it's not, like I said, we haven't turned the corner. Even right now, I'm still reluctant to say we've turned the corner. We're turning the corner. We are starting to get back to where we want to be and heading up the table. The performances are improving. The players are settling in, but it's still not perfect. It's still not everything is wonderful here. There's still a few bits and pieces to do. There's still players arguably shouldn't be in the starting 11 for next week, despite the fact that we won 3-1 today. But today was important. A win today is important, and a win next week against Southampton, pending the sacking of Ralph Hasenhüttl. If they don't sack their manager, we've got to go to Southampton next week, and we've got to get the 3 points. We have to be aiming for 3 points. If we do that and we secure the top spot against Anderlecht on Thursday in our European group stage, then you might think we've turned the corner a bit. So I'm still reluctant to say everything is rosy and wonderful. It's a big win today. It's an important win for us today. Some big performances, but like I said, it's not faultless out there. It's none of that things, but lots of positivity, which is good. 2 wins on the bounce in the Premier League. This is what we needed now. We can we're looking up rather than backwards. We can look forward to next week. And it's just about tweaking things now. We're no longer in this period of we need wholesale changes. We need Moyes to field a completely different 11 players. Any of that. That's gone now in the last couple of weeks. Yes, there might be 1 or 2 tweaks, but all in all, a good performance from West Ham and a big 3 points. And Fulham played well today. I will say that. I thought Fulham played well. Second half, like I said, I think our quality shone through in comparison to theirs. But certainly for the first 45, they gave us something to think about. And we've got the 3 points. And there's no easy games in the Premier League and all that. But this season is more prominent than ever. It's difficult. I ask you now to call the 3 teams that's going to get relegated. Which team, if a team breaks into the top 6 of the Premier League, who's it going to be? You know, you'll all come up with, well, most people will say Newcastle for that one, but the 3 teams going down, everybody will have different answers because it is a difficult league this year round. Now, before I get on to individual performances, just want to say a quick thank you to Chaz for the £2, who's saying he agrees with everything I've just said in the last 2 minutes when I went on a mini rant. Chris for the $20. Thank you, Chris. Says, our lads are improving. Have belief our ceiling is high. Top H is in reach. Played nowhere near our best, and we still win 3-1. Haven't always been able to say that. Take the 3 points, move on. Kind of sums up my feelings as well. And Sir Daddy, thank you for the $5. He says, we've always needed a striker with composure. I'm happy we signed Scamacca. I have to completely agree. I think Scamacca is just... I'll do my man of the match first. Scamacca. I think he's the difference between... Well, he is the difference between us drawing and winning that game because he got the goal that led to, that's what you would call the match-winning goal. On Transfer Market, that's what they call the match-winning goal. But anyway, individual performers. Jury's still out, I'll be honest with you, right back. The jury's still out at Kerr. Not convinced. At times, looks good. In possession, looks really nice and neat. But out of possession, I've still got my doubts about him. I still think he's out of position and a bit too rash at times there, but there's still something to work with. That can be taught. We can mould Kerr into not a more defensive right back. That would be wrong. Just a right back that gets back quicker a little bit would be handy. And when he plays for Germany, he either plays right centre back or right wing back. There is no right back at Germany. It's right centre back or right wing back. And I think he's probably playing a bit more right wing back than right back. Does that make sense? Probably not. But anyway, that's how I see it. I think he's probably playing a bit like he's got somebody behind him. Well, he does. It's Craig Dawson, but also, often that's the problem because Dawson's not quick enough to be covering for people over on that side. He shouldn't have to. Kerr should be getting back a bit more often, a bit more prominently as well to help him out. On the other side of the pitch with Aaron Cresswell, thought Aaron Cresswell had a really good game, really solid. A couple of times a winger tested him, if you like, whether it be Dan James or whatever, had a little pop at him. I thought he stood tall, was strong, comfortable in possession, and I keep getting, not criticised, people keep disagreeing with me about Cresswell. My opinion doesn't change. I think he's having a good, solid season, Cresswell. I think he's having a really good season, actually, and I think he had another really good game for us today. Centre-backs were fine. Rice, I thought, was sloppy. I thought Rice was sloppy today. I think gave the ball away a few times, made poor decisions at times. Not his worst game this season, but certainly not his best either. I thought he had an okay game, but I thought Polina was better than him today. Then I'll pick one more player. Scamacca I've already been putting about. Paqueta. I'll pick Paqueta, and then I'll leave it there. As for him, better second half. I think in the first half he was struggling to get involved in the game. I think he was having to drop deep. I want to see him drop deep. I don't think he was dropping deep enough. I think he was trying to make himself available at times, but Vice Souček, I don't think they're giving him the ball enough. He's often there, hovering in that space in between Fulham's defence and midfield, and there's no one doing that sort of, splitting in between the lines, they call it that phrase, where you play the ball in between their defence and midfield. There was none of that coming from our centre midfields today, from both of them. It's quite frustrating. The best pass I saw doing that today for West Ham, and I'm not even taking the mick here, second half someone did it. I think it was Rice gave it to him, but first half, the only player I saw do it was Craig Dawson. I'm not even winding anybody up. Craig Dawson got the ball, looked up, and he zipped it about 30 yards on the deck, whoosh, into the feet of Paqueta. Paqueta turned. Before you know it, we're running at Fulham's defence. I thought, here we go. A bit more of that, please. Second half, I thought he'd go into the game a little bit more. Glimpses of his quality, a couple of nice touches. There was also a couple of unnecessary flashes, if you like, that led to him losing the ball. But I think he struggled to get into it today. I think Fulham did quite a good job on him, but he walks away with an assist on his name. But I think that's more down to the quality of Scamacca. And it's very similar to what I saw against Wolves in terms of Paqueta, which is glimpses of quality, but generally, overall, struggling to get into the game a little bit. And this goes back to what I said when I think we've played well today without blowing anyone away. And we've now got a blueprint to some extent. We've now got the foundation of the team with the centre-back sorted, left-back's fine. And this is where things just need tweaked. And I think Paqueta is one of those players or roles that just needs a little bit of a tweaking to get the more out of him, kind of thing. Not a bad game from Paqueta, but certainly not a bad one. We could do with, his pass to Scamacca, for example. The cross to Scamacca was good. And yes, it had a little flick from Tosin, but it was a decent cross from him. So glimpses, but we could do with a little bit more. Anyway, I shall leave it there. That's my summary of the game. 3 points for West Ham, 3 goals for West Ham. We deserved the win. I think we deserved the 3 points. I think Fulham gave us a tough game in the first 45. We struggled. We were crap for first 20 minutes of the game. We were crap. I think there was a couple of players who didn't have their best games for us. But in the end, I think our quality shined through, especially in regards to Gianluca Scamacca. What a goal. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to be watching that on repeat. I've been watching Paqueta's skills on repeat from Thursday night, but I'm going to be watching Scamacca finish on repeat until this Thursday night. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this review, please do drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat, and I'll catch you tomorrow.